Greetings, all you voles out there. Welcome to Undeclared Bajor, a Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatch. Season 2. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
What up?
Today we're going to recap, discuss, and rate Season 2, Episode 17, Playing God. Alternate title, Rise of the Voles.
Ooh, I like that. I was stuck on like the trill thing, so I was like, license to trill.
Ooh, very nice. I like it.
A view to a trill. No, I'll stick with the
Yeah, license to trill is way better. That's like appropriate for the plot of the episode.
It's true. Okay.
I just got voles on my mind for some reason.
They're in your house, sure, why not?
Yeah, I got Cardassian voles all over the place. They're a big pain. They're nibbling on my what's-its and, you know.
The glowy cords that hang around inside stuff.
Yeah. Quick note on spoilers in case our rewatch is your first watch. Expect full spoilers through this episode because we have to talk about it, but only an appropriate minimum of minor spoilers for later in the series. Nothing too big, like when Odo gets a surprise visit from his cousin Frodo.
Huh.
That's right, Odo was a Baggins the whole time.
Now he knows his family, finally.
Yep. So I found my home planet. It's the Shire. And I have to help bring the One Ring to Mordor.
You know, with Odo there, it would have been a much easier trip, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Odo's much more competent than several of those people. And also his powers would be very useful.
Yep.
Maybe he could turn into an eagle and fly into Mordor.
Right, yeah, something like that. Or, just turn into like an orc and stroll in.
And then maybe the ring wouldn't affect him because his finger is made out of goo. So he wouldn't be tempted by it.
Just put the ring in a box and hold the box. It's fine.
This episode originally aired February 27th, 1994. It was written by Jim Trombetta and Michael Piller. Story by Jim Trombetta. And directed by good old David Livingston.
Good old Jim Trombetta. We've heard from him a lot.
Yeah, he's busy this season.
This is another one where like he did the first draft and then they changed it up and he's kind of like, I don't really like what the way they went with it. Apparently in the original one, the A story was the proto-universe and the Dax story was the B story. And then when they rewrote it, they made the Dax story the primary plot. And he's like, I feel like this decision robbed the episode of its emotional balance and that the ethical problem of the proto-universe story is no longer felt on an emotional level.
Well, they argued about it for like 5 seconds. So
yeah, that's all you need.
So, in this episode,
things happen.
The end. No. A transport ship docks at Deep Space Nine, and Bashir gets off chatting with a Trill man. It seems that the man, Arjun, is a candidate for joining and is to be evaluated by Dax, or trained by Dax, or something. It's a little vague.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're supposed to do, but
this worries him, as the various Daxes over the years have been notoriously difficult evaluators. They find Dax and Quarks playing Tongo with a group of Ferengi. Arjun is too tired for Tongo, so she leads him away to his quarters, much to the annoyance of the Ferengi, whom she was beating.
Yep, you can't leave, you're winning.
And then he calls, female!
I'm sure that'll get her back.
Yeah. I don't know, that might provoke her, you never know. So, okay, I'll come back and beat you some more.
Females just don't understand,
Later, Arjun shows up at Dax's quarters and is greeted by a strange alien man. Just some dude there. Dax is just getting out of the shower and has Arjun make her a drink while she gets ready. A black hole or whatever. Dax tries to make conversation with Arjun, but he is very tense and awkward. Up in Ops, O'Brien and Kira are on a vole hunt. Apparently, moving into previously unused areas of the station had stirred up a station-wide infestation of Cardassian voles. Sisko orders that phasers be set to stun, as he wants the voles alive. So for now, we're going to have a humanitarian vole hunt.
Right. Yep. You know what? Just thinking about it, I think in the back of my mind, that guy that we see in Dax's quarters was I think I always thought that he was the guy that's been mentioned at least once. She hangs out with sometimes with the transparent skull.
Oh.
And I just thought, like, he's wearing a hat or something over the transparent part because he has like a weird headpiece going on.
Okay, could be.
But I don't think that's actually the case now after I just looked it up.
Okay, so you think his skull is not transparent?
Well, I can't say that for sure, but the guy is apparently does not seem to be that guy because that guy has a different name, and this alien's name was Trejak.
Sure. They were playing like playing racquetball or spring ball or something.
They were wrestling.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that's
Galio Manata style.
Which is another thing Arjun isn't into.
But it's just like, I think this guy is like, just in my mind, is who I've always pictured when I think of like transparent skull guy, and apparently I didn't realize till just now that was completely wrong.
Mm-hmm. Also, like when you're answering somebody else's door, like maybe be more polite.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what do you want? He's like, I'm looking for the person who lives here.
It's like, you know that you're not the person who lives here, so why are you acting like this is weird? Like, yeah, come on. Anyway, Dax brings Arjun to Ops and introduces him to the various butts sticking out of places.
Yep.
While Dax tries her hand at hunting voles, Cisco teases Arjun about being assigned to the notoriously difficult Dax. Dax objects and says that was Curzon Dax.
Although I feel like it's implied later that also other Daxes were definitely the same problem.
Yeah.
But really, we should go back because he starts out being like, yeah, Dax has been responsible for like 53 people being kicked out of the program.
Uh-huh.
But then he goes on to explain that like every year there's like 3,000 people who want a symbiote and only like 300 get chosen.
Yeah,
and so I was like, doesn't that mean that like 90% of people, like 2,700 people get kicked out every year? Why is 53 over the course of like 1 trill lifetime somehow horrifying?
Yeah, I mean, it could be because it's like that's how many people apply, right? So there could have been other stages of elimination.
Yeah.
Before now or something. Like this could be intended to be like just a rubber stamp phase or something. I don't know. Like I said before, it's kind of vague what's going on here.
Right.
Because at one point, Dax just says her job is to kind of like show him the ropes of being joined, which you think would be much easier done by any old joined Trill on, the planet Trill.
Rather than like sending them out into deep space. Yeah,
so who knows. Dax and Arjun fly through the wormhole in a runabout on some kind of unspecified mission.
Just go check out the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah.
See what's there.
Well, let's go see what that Gamma Quadrant looks like. Oh, more space.
Yeah.
Okay. As they make conversation, it is revealed that Jadzia was judged by Curzon just a few years ago, and he failed her. The experience has made her want to do things differently with Arjun. Suddenly the runabout jolts as some unknown thing gets stuck to the warp nacelle.
Also, it's important that he has level 5 flight training.
Yes.
And she only has level 3.
I mean, what these levels mean, I don't know. But he's 2 more than her. Like, I don't know if there's any other...
That's gotta be good.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other, like, level 5 pilots on the station, but...
It's like everybody is like level 5 or higher except for Jadzia. She's actually just not very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's never been... I don't think they've ever said that she's an especially good pilot, nor does she need to be, so...
Right. It's not part of her job necessarily, although she does end up on runabouts a lot.
Yep. On these weird...
Usually with only one other person for whatever reason.
Yeah, on these weird solo or dual missions.
Yeah.
So O'Brien shows Kira a sonic gizmo he came up with to help hunt the voles. Quark comes up to Ops to complain about the voles. O'Brien tries to show him the sonic thingy, but it seems to put Quark in unbearable pain.
And they don't turn it off for a long time, even though it's super clear.
He's like, wait, what's going on, huh? Should I point this thing closer to your ears? No? But I guess they never mentioned this sonic thing again, so maybe the fact that it hurts Ferengis has ruled it out as a tool.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Ferengi on the stations, so that would be kind of rude.
Or maybe just don't use it around the Ferengis. Or just, like, warn the Ferengis before you use it.
All Ferengi, get earmuffs.
Yeah.
Quickly.
I got some silicone earplugs. They're real nice.
Noise-canceling headphones, just, you know.
The runabout comes back through the wormhole, and they have the mystery, quote, subspace seaweed brought to Dax's lab. Dax takes Arjun out for Klingon food, which he does not enjoy. Dax reprimands him for not speaking up for himself. Which, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe he's never tried Klingon food before? I don't know. Maybe this is like a good thing that he's trying a new thing, but
he apparently doesn't try it though. He's like, no, I had some. She's like, well, you moved it around on your plate. What are you, 3? Yep. This is the discussion we're having.
I mean, to be fair, if my food was living worms, I also just might not even bother eating it. I might not have that bravery. Anyway,
this is apparently the second and final appearance of the Klingon chef.
Oh, I was happy to see him back.
You get to sing a song.
Oh yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, that dude's into it for sure. Arjun talks about the pressure from his dead father to become joined. Dax asks him what his goals are, and he says he was just planning to worry about that when the time came.
His dad is, or was, so hardcore about this, where it's like, on his deathbed, he was like, you are my last chance at having a child who is joined. Do it.
Yeah, so, okay. And I guess you can't get married and be joined? Or I guess being married distracted his sister from the program or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like if you were married and then became joined and, you know, became a new person, that wouldn't quite be fair to your spouse.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Although,
I could see that.
I can't see any reason you couldn't get married after you were joined.
Sure.
Since... because of, like, you know, the biology, you're not going to change again unless you die.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you know you're going to become a different person, you might choose not to do that because you want to be, you know, the same person with the person you're in love with or whatever. That makes sense. Dax tells him he needs to set his own goals so the symbiote doesn't overwhelm his personality.
I mean, yeah, when... I was in agreement with her when he's like, yeah, you know, I don't really have any goals. I just, I'm going to get joined and then I'll figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, it's, give this guy a symbiont for sure.
Yeah, this guy is going to do great things, probably, maybe, if he feels like it.
O'Brien tries to complain to a Cardassian about the Vol situation, but the Cardassian guy is like, there's nothing we can do about that unless you want to give us the station back, which is, I think, a fair response.
He's like, yeah, it's not our problem anymore. It's y'all's problem. Good luck with that. And then he, like, after he hangs up, he goes and tells all his buddies about it.
Right. He's like, they got the Vols up there. At first, I thought it was the guy who tortured Picard, but I don't think it's the same guy. Like, David Warner. Like, I don't think they would have got David Warner back for just this one scene.
This is Richard Poe, who makes his first appearance in this episode, although he will be back later as like he'll turn into a named character in an episode of The Next Generation, and so probably the two of those. Or wait, let me see. Richard Poe makes his first appearance in this episode, although the script only refers to his character as Cardassian officer. It's apparent that his character became Gul Evek.
Oh, okay.
And Evek is from Journey's End of The Next Generation, that the final Wesley Crusher episode or whatever.
Oh yes.
Evek tells Miles O'Brien that they have spoken before in the episode Tribunal, which I guess is a future.
Interesting. So Dax delivers O'Brien a box from Dr. Bashir, which just contains a pipe. Bashir being a little cheeky.
Oh yeah, I'm like, Bashir is just like, was it necessary to go so far out of your way to be a random asshole?
He's like, I don't have voles in the med lab or in the infirmary, so who cares?
Yeah, you better hope they don't start showing up, or O'Brien might be like, I don't know, why don't you figure it out since you're so fucking
O'Brien
smart?
just gives him the pipe back. It's like, here you go.
Exactly.
Over a game of chess, Dax tells Cisco about her concerns about Arjun's preparedness for joining. Cisco advises that she should bring this up with Arjun. She doesn't want to do this because she doesn't want to be tough like Curzon. And Sisko says maybe toughness is what's needed for Arjun's own good. Just, some pretty fair advice. Again, it's not very clear what Dax's job is supposed to be in this situation, but she's like, the rules are very clear. It's like, can you tell me what the rules are? But
yeah, and I mean, when we find out, she's like, oh yeah, like Curzon did that to me and like kicked me out, but I came back with a vengeance. And I'm like, wait, so it's not actually like a kick out? I don't.
Yeah. Well, I imagine if you get kicked out once, it's probably a lot harder to get in a second time. So
I don't know why they'd let you in at all a second time if you've already been determined to be not like suitable and there's 3,000 other people waiting.
Mm-hmm, true. I don't know. I mean, it's not totally unrealistic, I think, that you could always reapply and then maybe get back in if you're still like a really good candidate.
Okay.
I don't know. That part doesn't bother me. In the science lab, a Vole deactivates the containment field of the space seaweed. This is the last straw for Sisko, who rescinds his earlier phasers on stun order. So we're going to be running around shooting phasers on kill at little vermin running all over the station. No problem. Dax has a frank conversation with Arjun about her concerns. Arjun does not take it well and is like, nuh-uh, you're not fit for joining.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, she brings up just some very real concerns, and she seems to be trying to be real nice about it. And, like, let's talk about this because I have some concerns. And he's just immediately like, no, man, screw you. Yeah. I knew that you were lying when you said that you were better than those other Daxes. You were just trying to kick me out like all those other Daxes. And I'm like, dude, way to demonstrate that you really don't deserve to be a host.
Yeah. Back in Ops, Jadzia reports her findings that the space seaweed is a little universe that's growing and it will eventually destroy the entire system. Dax says taking it back through the wormhole will be tricky because there's Verteron nodes in there.
Which are not something we've ever seen as far as we know, but we will see in great detail later.
Good. Can we just take it far away without taking it through the wormhole? Says nobody. Let's just destroy it, says Kira. Dax proposes putting it in a containment field until it crushes itself to death or something. But unfortunately, it will still destroy the lab. Arjun goes to Quark's to sulk about blowing up his future. Quark tells him the story about how he had a great opportunity once, but he blew it and he never recovered. Arjun is not comforted.
Yeah, Quark's story is not the best.
Like, Quark's like, finally, I found another, like, loser to commiserate
Never
with.
let a single opportunity pass you by, or you will regret it for the rest of your life.
Yep. I mean, I guess you could take it as a motivational speech, like, hey, don't let this opportunity go till it's absolutely gone or whatever. But Arjun's like, that was not a inspirational story.
He slept with the boss's sister and quotes a rule of acquisition about it, which he should have quoted before doing it. But whatever.
Frankly, Quark, that's on you. Like,
yeah, yep.
In the science lab, Dax spends an entire scene exchanging technobabble with the computer while she analyzes the little universe. She becomes concerned by the findings. Then she runs to Ops and reports that there's life in the little universe. Well, sucks for them, says Kira. Let's get this show on the road. But Sisko decides not to destroy the universe. The universe expands and trashes the lab. Kira strongly urges that they need to destroy the universe now, before it gets any worse. But all the bleeding heart goody-goodies resist. Because there could be entire civilizations in there or something. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not entirely clear on the stakes of the proto-universe, because I'm pretty sure at some point someone was like, but if we don't destroy the proto-universe, it will destroy our universe. Which, I mean, at that point, it's like, well, then how does taking it back to the Gamma Quadrant help?
He said it would displace our universe, but they never specifically said it would destroy anything beyond the entire system and maybe beyond. So I took that to mean they weren't concerned about it destroying the entire universe, but yeah, you're right. It wasn't clear. So Sisko goes back to his quarters to think it over and gets hit with the shocking news that Jake is in love with a Dabo girl.
Yep, this is definitely the place in the series where that needed to come out.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we got like 3 extra minutes. What should we do with them?
Yeah, having an ABC story in this episode also was not quite enough, so let's get that in there.
So throw in some extra stuff. Dax finds Arjun in Quarks and tells him the story about her training under the horrible Curzon Dax, and how her deep hatred of Curzon inspired her to reapply to the program and work 10 times as hard, eventually getting the last laugh on Curzon by taking his symbiont. She tells him that if he really wants to continue with the program, he needs to do it on his own terms. And by the way, since you're a level 5 pilot, would you like to come on an extremely dangerous mission, taking the mini-universe through the wormhole? And he's like, yeah, sure.
I like, during the discussion, like, Odo is the writing staff's, like, guy who cares about unusual forms of life, like the holograms in that other episode, and now the proto-universe life. When Kira's like, it's like stepping on ants, Odo. And Odo's like, I don't step on ants.
Yeah, I mean, why are you stepping on ants, Kira? I mean, Odo clearly has never known the pain. Like, what would happen if an ant bit Odo? Like,
probably nothing.
Like, he hasn't had ants, like, crawl into his cereal and stuff. You know, or, like, into his pants.
Ants in the pants. That's not for Odo.
Nope. I also like that, I guess they figured Dax was just having too many lines in a row, so they just had Bashir take over for her at one point. When Bashir starts going... Well, he's just like, time could be working totally different in this alternate universe. It's like, aren't you a doctor? Like...
They're all science people, you know, in general, but Bashir is once again in the position of, they seem to want to have him in the episode, but they don't actually have anything for him to do. So they're like, okay, so you'll be talking to Arjun when he shows up, and then you'll just get some random lines in this thing, and at one point, you're going to send a pipe or a flute or whatever to Chief O'Brien so he can, like, Pied Piper all the voles.
Although the actual delivery of the pipe will be done by Kira, so you don't have to show up to work that day.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it must be a challenge, like, making sure that all the characters get a little bit of FaceTime, just so that we don't go, like, 5 episodes without seeing someone, and they pop back up, and you're like, oh, wait, that guy's still here?
Yeah, you know, big ensemble casts, they can be tricky.
Yep. So in the exciting climax, Dax and Arjun load the universe into a runabout and fly it back through the wormhole. Arjun is able to use his level 5 pilot skills to dodge all the Verteron nodes, and they are able to return the universe to the Gamma Quadrant, where it will be someone else's problem. Later, as he's leaving the station, Arjun apologizes for blowing up at Dax, and she wishes him well. After he leaves, she smiles at herself for not being Curzon.
Also, I'm pretty sure they specifically said he was supposed to stay for a couple of weeks, and I'm pretty sure it was like 2 days that he's been.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe the scene just takes place 2 weeks later or something.
Could be. Anyway,
the Vol issue remains unsolved. The end.
Yeah, we didn't resolve the Vol thing, did we? Huh.
And it's Vol mating season, so watch out.
Yeah, mating season's coming up. You got
that would be great if it was just like an ongoing, like, escalating Vol problem.
Every week, like, another system goes down because the voles bit through a bunch of stuff.
It's like we're walking through the promenade and there's just like voles mating all over the place.
Oh, that would be an interesting turn for the series to take. Yeah, okay.
It just gradually, like, devolves into, like, the Vol War. It's like a 3-season arc of getting rid of the voles.
Or just, like, constantly in the background, like, phasers are blasting by and, like, killing voles, and nobody mentions it.
There's just, like, guys, like, carrying, like, wheelbarrows full of dead voles.
You got, like, guys with special uniforms and, like, helmets and, like, stormtrooper gear because they're the Vol Extermination Squad.
Until the Vol Extermination Squad goes too far.
Yeah, exactly. Then they're like, we'll never get rid of the voles until we get rid of the people.
It's like, you've been too soft on the voles, Captain. I'm afraid I'm going to have to relieve you of duty. It's like, what?
It's in the Vol Extermination Squad charter, this ability. You clearly didn't read it well enough before you signed it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, Morn's back this episode, finally.
I was about to say, yeah, did you get a Morn spot?
Oh yeah, he's very easy to spot in this episode. So yay. So I don't know. I don't know if this is intentional. They have this parallel of like exterminating the voles, and then also like the moral decision to kill a whole universe, which is also being a pest to them. So it's like, what's better about killing a vole than exterminating an entire universe filled with potentially thousands of civilizations? I don't know.
Yep. It's tricky. I mean, it's not like we come to a decision that it's wrong to kill the voles. So
yeah, and like Cisco pretty quickly is like, okay, kill the voles.
Yep.
No more of this humane stuff.
I mean, they came close to destroying the station because of their chompiness. So right. I don't know.
But so did the universe. I just don't understand quite how this vole storyline is supposed to mesh up with the universe storyline, or even if they were thinking about that.
Yeah, the C story is, I don't know. It's an odd one. It's a little bit whimsical.
Yeah. I mean, they were clearly proud of that dead vole prop, though.
One of the quotes about from one of the people who wrote the episode is, "There's a gentle, breezy pace to the show, even a refreshing sense of whimsy with the cat-sized vole varmints, and a hilarious scene between Arjun and Quark."
Sure.
Terry Farrell obviously relishing the more body aspects of her character.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to see, lots of Dax just, loving life.
Yeah, this is all around, I think, a better Trill episode than any of the Trill episodes we've had. Like, Dax sucked in general. We actually get some feeling for who Dax is in this episode, and we get, this other Trill perspective. And the other Trill episode we had was
the invasive procedures.
Invasive procedures, yeah. And once again, this is like way better look at like some aspects of Trill culture and at Dax as a person than that episode where she once again doesn't say anything for most of the episode.
Yeah, and it's real nice seeing how she doesn't want to just be Dax. She wants to be Jadzia Dax.
Yep.
And then the reason she's into all this like gambling and booze and all this stuff is because she never lived life as herself prior to joining the program. She was always intensely focused on that. And then she realized, hey, I need to be I need to discover the things that I'm all about. And apparently the thing she's all about is hanging out with Ferengis, wrestling, gossiping.
Yep.
And, more power to her. Why not?
Yeah. You have a good time, Jadzia.
Yeah.
You're not hurting anybody, probably.
Totally. Although I was a little fuzzy on what the takeaway for Arjun was. Because I was like, this guy really doesn't seem like he even wants to be joined. So it's we never really see him make a decision. He just gets, given some pretty good advice that hey, if this is what you want, you need to figure out what you want out of it. And then pursue it for yourself.
And so at the end, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do that thing that you said.
Yeah. So I guess that's what he does. Is there a novel that follows up Arjun's story?
There totally should be, right? Let's see if there's any mention of this. Arjun, there's Arjun.
Or I know the way these novels just love to bring back random characters, 20 random characters.
Scrolled through the background somewhere.
It's hi, I'm Arjun, the new Floob symbiont, or whatever.
No, there's no link to memory beta or anything, so I don't think there's any additional content for him. Too bad.
Season 1 just had so many. It's every single little loose end seemed to get picked up by those novel writers.
It's true. I guess because they didn't actually get picked up by the people writing the show, whereas this season, some of them will, not all of them. This guy does not come back. Spoiler.
Yeah. So let's see what else. We got any other fun facts about this episode?
Do we have any other? Let's see.
I need to click on the Wikipedia, see if it says anything.
Second episode in a row with an ABC. I think we said that.
Even though the plots were much more interwoven in this episode.
I think you're right about that.
In the previous episode.
Apparently, the chess game between Cisco and Dax is recognizable as the famous Game D, Byrne versus R. Fisher, 1956, known as the game of the century.
Ah. Who versus Fisher?
D. Byrne, Byrne.
Oh, okay.
Donald Byrne.
See, Sci-Fi included this episode in their Jadzia Dax binge-watching guide.
I mean, yeah, it probably should be.
Yeah, totally. Like, if any episode from these first 2 seasons is in that guide, this one should be.
Yeah.
Now I just want to see what's in this guide. Page not found.
Oh. This one features at least 2 Star Trek CCG cards based on the same, I guess, item, object, whatever, because there's a Space Seaweed one and then there's a Proto-Universe one.
So yeah, Ron Taylor, who plays the Klingon chef, was the coach on Twin Peaks.
Huh.
Which I totally recognize now. And he's also from Galveston. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2002. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the guy who plays Arjun, he's
Jeffrey Blake.
Oh, he was in Forrest Gump?
Who's he playing Forrest? Okay.
I don't know.
It's IMDb.
He was also in Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Which, forget your stupid
I believe
avatars. Just watch that.
Let's see. So this guy, he was in many things. He's in an episode of NCIS. Sure.
Who isn't?
He plays random side character in Dishonored. That was a good game. Castaway is Maynard Graham. All right.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
He was in Contact. I love Contact. As Fisher. I don't know who that was.
He was one of the science dweebs that worked with...
he's Wesley in Forrest Gump.
Wesley?
And he's in Apollo 13 as Guido Gold.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Guido, not Guido.
Oh. Wesley. I don't know who Wesley was in Forrest Gump. I'm going to find out. He's an antagonist in the movie Forrest Gump. Oh.
Is he the Black Panther guy? Or the guy who hangs out with the Black Panther?
Yes, I think he is.
He slaps around Jenny?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Boo. Boo that guy.
The next day, when Jenny is leaving, Wesley meets her at the bus and apologizes, blaming it all on the Vietnam War and Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
It wasn't me that hit you. It was Lyndon Johnson.
That damn lying son of a bitch Johnson. He was in The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. What a show that was.
Classic. He's in an episode of Alf as Lizard. That must have been good. Oh, and The Last Starfighter as Gary.
Wow.
Now that's a movie.
This guy's got a career.
I assume Gary is like one of the random teens, but...
So, yeah, So there's 2 character notes on Wikipedia. One is that this is on the Jadzia Dax binge-watching guide. And
right.
Armin Sherman's nose makeup was not ready, so a different one was used, giving him a slightly different look than in other episodes.
Oh, interesting.
So he's wearing someone else's nose in this episode. Although he did not look different.
How do you not have the Quark makeup ready to go?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe they lost the nose or something, and they had to make a new one.
Oh no, somebody sat on the Quark nose. We don't have time to make a new one.
He looked exactly the same to me, but maybe somebody with a good eye could tell a difference.
Yeah, I want to bring the episode up now, but it'll take me forever to get past the commercials, so I'm not doing it.
Stupid commercials.
Yeah.
Weirdly, even though I have not watched hardly anything on Paramount Plus other than Star Trek stuff, I still haven't seen a commercial for Star Trek Picard.
Huh.
Like, you'd think they'd... I have a feeling they do not have an algorithm. Or...
Recently, I keep seeing commercials narrated by Patrick Stewart on there, but they're for football.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the Criminal Minds reboot, which I finally watched an episode of, and I was like, but maybe it'll stop asking me to watch it now. I think it's kind of lame that even if you have the no commercials plan, you still have to watch one commercial before you start the episode.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I've complained about this before, but...
Lame indeed.
Write your congressman about this, because this is not acceptable. Oh, yeah. So, do you find it weird that they were just kind of flying around and then just hit the proto-universe?
It is weird. I agree.
Like, is this a common thing that ships just, like, run into proto-universes, or is this just, like, a super freak event?
Yeah, who knows? It's not. They weren't even like, we're flying somewhere weird. We're just, flying normal. And then, I'd forgotten that these two Pac-Leds are like the first off the shuttle.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of the episode.
But it's like, usually they at least have a scene where it's like, I'm getting some unusual readings. Let's go check it out.
Right, yeah.
Oh, no, something
not
got
just
stuck
like,
to the warp.
we're just flying and chatting.
Yeah. Maybe it's because she wasn't looking where she was going that they ran into it. I don't know.
So did it mention a specific scene that his nose is different? Because I assumed they didn't film... Maybe they filmed all his scenes on the same day.
I mean, that's definitely how I would do it if I was them. But
because he has the one opening bit with when they're playing Tongo, and then he has the other longer scene later.
Yeah, well, he's got the scene where he takes the dead vole up to the ops.
Oh, I'd forgotten that one, yeah.
He's got the scene where he's talking with Arjun. Don't make me watch a commercial. Don't make me watch a commercial. The mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, I've seen so many commercials for that, and I'm still not sure what that show's about. There seems to be a prison. Jeremy Renner is in charge of something, or I don't know.
I mean, I just always assumed that Jeremy Renner was the mayor of a place called Kingstown, which would be a really literal title, but...
It would.
Why not? And then, Oh, did you hear about, I guess the promo posters for the new season of Mayor of Kingstown had Jeremy Renner looking all beat up, and they had to, like, change those after he got into his accident?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. His nose looks pretty much the same to me.
Yeah, I brought up a picture to compare, but that first scene, like, you only really see, like, a half shot of his face, for the most part, at least up close.
I guess in this comparison picture I have of Quark, his nostrils look a little bit more, like, pointy, uppy.
Oh, here we go. Here's the image of Quark right behind the vole. Okay, that's a good shot. Now let's try to compare that to standard Quark. I'm really... I mean, maybe a little, but... Here, I'm going to shoot you these two images. The one of, like, normal Quark face, and the one specifically from this episode. You can see what you think.
This is going to be great for people listening, because I am not putting these screenshots. Like, I mean, maybe... Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty much exactly the same to me, so... I don't know. Research this for yourself, listeners. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, you let us know. I'm sure everyone is just as fascinated as we are by this one.
I'm leaving this all in, but I'm just not going to post the pictures so that people will be annoyed. That's how much I love our listeners.
I located the picture of Quark by Googling Quark in Playing God.
Nice.
So, if you want to find the picture that I'm looking at.
I could maybe put links to these pictures, but no, I'm not even going to do that.
Okay. Should we rate?
Yeah, let's rate this episode. What are we?
You go ahead. What do you think?
So in my opinion, this is a solid Lieutenant Commander. This is exactly what I think of in the Lieutenant Commander. It just, it's fine. It didn't super anger me. It was barely entertaining enough. So that's where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the Lieutenant Commanders, weirdly, because I don't want to put it above Rules of Acquisition. I like Rules of Acquisition.
Okay.
Rules of Acquisition more. I think, I like Invasive Procedures more. I like Necessary Evil more. Necessary Evil might be a little high in hindsight. Shadow Play is at my top. I think Shadow Play I like more. Sometimes, like, looking back on these rankings, it's like my opinions kind of like settle after I've like rated the episode into kind of like a little bit of a different place. But I'm putting it at the very bottom of my lieutenant commanders.
Okay, I think that's fair.
What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with you that I think this is exactly the kind of episode that I think of as a lieutenant commander here, where I'm like, there was some good stuff. I like the A story. I like most of actually the Dax and Arjun stuff, and it's not like it's not super clear like we talked about like exactly what they're supposed to be doing or how much say she has in any of this, but I like this story for Jadzia. I like what it showed us about Jadzia, and even Arjun as like a one-off dude. I thought they gave him a lot to do, and that he handled it pretty well. So
he has a nice.
And then the Vol stuff was fun.
Vols are fun.
And so yes, I'm also going to put this at Lieutenant Commander. I'm going to put it probably on the higher end of my Lieutenant Commanders as opposed to you, though. I'm going to put it right under the Circle. Which, that may be where I put the last one. I don't recall, actually.
You put Shadow Play under Rivals.
Okay, so in that same area. But yeah. I'm gonna put this one above Rivals, I think. Okay.
So above Rivals, below the Circle. Okay. Yeah, I mean you are right, like there's some good like concepts in the Dax stuff. I feel like they kind of dragged it a little bit, but yeah, like I like seeing Dax, like, you know, like we talked about, trying to distinguish herself from Curzon, and like, you know, her like story of like finding the Jadzia in Jadzia Dax and all that.
Yeah.
And then like her it's kind of this weird thing where it's like she was on both sides of that story with her in Curzon, and now she wants to, like, you know, be better than Curzon or whatever. So yeah, that kind of, you know, worked. Man, in this title, I at least get what they're going for with this title, but
yeah, with like the proto universe and then the Vols, you know, as hunting the Vols, and even these her having like this power over him. I see what they're shooting for. I don't necessarily agree that it's a great title, but I actually really like this idea that Jadzia has had in her head this horrible experience that she had with Curzon, and she's like, I'm not going to be that. And then when the time comes, she starts to realize, oh, no, I guess maybe I do need to be that a little bit at least. Like, I can't just pass people through because this is actually really important. Which I feel like that's something that you should have figured out before, like, the 8th time you've been through this or whatever. It seems odd to me that it really seems odd to me that they have this thing that if people are so harsh, and maybe Dax is a special case and most people aren't that harsh, like you said, maybe it's usually a rubber stamp sort of thing. But it's just like, if people are so harsh, I'm surprised that none of the Daxes that came before had the same thing that Jadzia is going through, where she's like, I went through initiative training and it was horrible, and I'm not going to do that to the person after me. And it made me think, is this like, is it like when you're pledging a fraternity or something and they like do all this hazing and it's so horrible, but then the next time you're like, well, I mean, I can't let the new guys go and not go what I went through, right?
True. I mean, there's always these situations where you're on one end of it and you're like, I'm not going to be like that when I'm on the other end. Then when you are on the other end, you're like, oh, yeah, I totally do actually need to be like that.
Wait, it actually made sense, and I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so final thoughts before we wrap up.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then what's the thing I usually say at the end? If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Be sure to check out the description where I occasionally put links to interesting things, but I'm not putting links to those Quark photos. You gotta look that up yourself. Like I tracked down some stuff about Tyrannosaurus azteca.
Nice.
Which you can check out in the links in the description of the episode.
I don't remember.
The one before last. I don't know. It's definitely not good looking movie.
Paradise.
Paradise. Man, Paradise. Just what a. There's something about
what
that
an amazing episode.
So that episode just erases your memory of it as soon as you stop thinking about it.
Tyrannosaurus azteca. That's how you remember it from then on.
Yeah. Although apparently the English title is Aztec Rex.
Huh.
Like Tyrannosaurus azteca, I guess, is the Spanish title. But all the stuff I found on YouTube was under the title Aztec Rex.
Is that better or worse? I don't know. I mean, that just sounds like King of the Aztecs. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what it literally means, right? So.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, check that out. I'm Fletcher, about to say goodbye as Data.
Dos Vidania.
And remember, every once in a while, declare peace. It confuses the hell out of your enemies, and do not sleep with the boss's daughter.
Good call. Good call.
Do.
Or do. Whatever. I'm not the boss of you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're consenting adults, whatever. But just, that's a bad idea.